which is the third icon from the left. For public comments and questions during the meeting, call 937-8100. Please do not call in advance of the agenda item. May I have roll call, please?
Roll call for council members. Councilmember Brotman,
Here.
Devine,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Mayor Agajanian.
Present.
Chair
For-
Devine ready?
Ms. Devine, for housing?
Oh, I'm sorry, terribly sorry. Can we have roll call for housing, please?
Authority Member Agajanian,
Present.
Brotman,
Here.
Kasakian,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Parazian,
Here.
Ajinian, Authority Member Ajinian,
I think we may have no. Did we lose him?
He might have
Probably he
not
didn't
known
know
to
that he
stay-
had to wait for
Yeah.
this one.
to stay.
and Chair Devine.
Present. I'll call him.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Ajemian. Next item, please.
The agenda for the Tuesday, February 16th, 2021 joint public meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority was posted on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. The next item would be 1, Community Service and Parks regarding Measure S funding for the Verdugo Workforce Development Board's Low-Income Family Employment Rental Assistance Program, also known as LifeWrap, and for LifeWrap Case Management Services provided by the Glendale Youth Alliance. A would be City Council motion approving the use of Measure S funds in the amount not to exceed $1,315,000 for implementation and administration of low-income family employment rental assistance program, housing subsidy by the Verdugo Workforce Development Board in the amount of $1,095,879.96. 2 would be LifeWrap Case Management Services provided by the Glendale Youth Alliance, GYA, through written agreement between the VWDB and GYA in the amount of $201,620.04. And 3 would be city staffing and operational expenses in the amount of $17,500. 3B would be City Council resolution of appropriation to appropriate Measure S funds in the amount of $1,315,000 for the Verdugo Workforce Development Board's Low-Income Family Employment Rental Assistant Program.
Thank you. Mr. Golania.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Agajanian, members of City Council, Chair Devine, members of the Housing Authority. I'm just going to turn it over to Judith Velasco, our Workforce Development Administrator, for a brief presentation of this item.
Hello, everyone. Mayor Agajanian, members of City Council, Chair Devine, members of Housing Authority. My name is Judith Velasco. I am the Workforce Administrator in charge of workforce programs out of the Verdugo Job Center. I'm here today to review the LifeWrap program for you. LifeWrap stands for Low Income Family Employment Rental Assistance Program. The LifeWrap program is not a new program. It was originally developed back in 2011, and it was administered out of the Verdugo Job Center based on our experience administering complex grant programs. At the time, it was administered as a housing and employment and savings program, with the goal really to provide rental subsidies to enable the family unit to free up limited resources that could be devoted to their time spent on education or job training activities. We do plan to administer the LifeWrap program similar to how it was done in 2011, with the same goal of self-sufficiency, which varies from family to family. Overall, the LifeWrap program provides intensive one-on-one case management and wraparound services to Glendale families to the overall goal of improving quality of life, while also providing rental subsidies and employment assistance for these low-income working households. Every family on this program will receive a total of 12 months of rental subsidies. Families will be required to save a set amount each month based on their individual goals set by a Glendale Youth Alliance case manager. They will partake in 12 months of case management, which means that they will work with the Glendale Youth Alliance staff on at least a monthly basis, if not more time than that. This program really is a true collaborative effort among housing, workforce, and youth employment. The Verdugo Job Center, and my staff is on the line, Melissa Yanessian, will be responsible for administering the program and oversight of the Glendale Youth Alliance. I also have Karina Gregorian, Executive Director of Glendale Youth Alliance, on the call. Glendale Youth Alliance will provide the case management services to the families in this program. They have extensive experience operating comprehensive youth employment and training programs, especially working with the family unit, which this program is geared toward. And more recently, they are working with the City of Glendale's Continuum of Care to provide hotel vouchers and housing subsidies to homeless youth. Glendale Youth Alliance is also the Verdugo Board's procured youth provider, and as such, they are eligible to receive funding that the board receives as it relates to youth services and family services. Regular reports will be given to the Community Development Department Housing Division on the progress of this program. So we'll work closely with Peter Zovac and his team to provide regular updates on the application process. There is a program eligibility component for families to qualify. This program is a 2-year program where over the 2 years, a total of 50 families will be served, 25 families each year. And each family will be connected to resources in achieving their goals. As I mentioned, the first step would be for the families to meet with the Glendale Youth Alliance case manager. The case manager would do a comprehensive assessment of their needs. Based on their needs, employment, training, or others, they will then be referred to the appropriate resources. Families do have to meet a specific criteria, as we've outlined in our report, to be eligible. Among the criteria, annual household income must be below 80% of Los Angeles County area median income at the time of application. At least one member of the household must be a minor child. This is a household, so under 18. Household must be an existing Glendale resident. At least one adult must be a legal resident of the U.S., and that's mostly because it is primarily in an employment program, and employers require this eligibility. At least one adult must be working a minimum of 32 hours. We will look at this amount, especially during our economic environment right now with COVID. Families must be living independently and not sharing a dwelling. And, you know, the families must demonstrate a willingness to participate in a year program with vocational case management. They must also be willing, if they don't have so already, open up a savings account, and must not be receiving any cash and rental assistance from any other program. And that is because we want to maximize families who don't have any other resources, and this would be their primary resource. There are other eligibility considerations we will consider: families with individuals with disabilities, veterans, single parents, just to name a few. We are hoping to have the application and marketing promotion of this program start February 18th. The application window would be approximately for 3 weeks, so we're proposing February 18th to March 12th. And once we have received the applications, go through a selection process and work closely with community development to select the families. We are already set and have established a marketing plan. And as we indicate in our report, we've listed a couple of organizations. We have much more that we plan to market this program. It was very successful when we implemented back in 2011, so we hope for the same success this time around. I'm happy to answer questions as well as, again, I said I have Melissa and Karina on the line. We can answer any questions you may have.
Is there any question from Mrs. Sorry, Mrs.
Velasco.
Velasco? Yeah. Is there any question from Ms. Velasco?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've
Yes, Mr.
couple
Butler.
questions for. So yeah, thanks for explaining all this. As we discussed earlier today, I was wondering about the long list of eligibility criteria and expressing some concern that it would be a big burden on us to kind of go through the applicants and find qualified applicants. And you assured me, that we've done this before and you didn't think there would be a problem filling it out. I'm just wondering, how long do you think, and how long and how much, staff time is involved in going through these applications? You say it'll close, you're thinking around March 12th?
Correct.
And then what's the timeline to go through all these and see if they qualify and talk to them about whether they're willing to be part of the program and check to see whether they have any other rental assistance, and how much staff time is involved in that?
Well, even though we've administered, and thank you, Councilmember Brotman, for your question, even though we've administered this program, we are anticipating more than 25 applications for the program, given our previous experience. After the 3-week window closes, we will review each application very thoroughly. That would be Glendale Youth Alliance responsibility. We've already established an application, so that's ready to go. The eligibility criteria that you had mentioned, they'll be used to review each application. Eligible families will be interviewed. So there will be an interview process to speak to the families, make sure that they understand the requirements of the program, and that way they're acknowledge their willingness to still participate. So after the interview process, the top scoring candidates will then be recommended to the Community Development Department. So that process, just as I mentioned, can be anywhere between 2 weeks, I would say, to 3 weeks. We're trying to do it very quickly, so that way the families can start the program immediately and we can get gauged. But it really depends on the number of applications that we receive. So that is just an estimate in terms of the selection process.
Okay, so as we get there, at the end, as you get to March 12th, it'd be great if you could give us an update on how many we received, and then as you go through, looking through them, how many have qualified and how that process went.
Yes, definitely. We're happy to provide you with an update on the number received and our timeline in reviewing the applications and selecting the families.
And all that, you're saying that whole process of reviewing the applications and doing the interviews, it's all Glendale Youth Alliance?
Correct. Their contract, which is a 2-year contract, it's a 2-year program, is to market the program, provide the case management, do the initial review. But again, after they review, my staff, Melissa Yanessian, will also review the applications, and we are going to provide recommendations to the Community Development Department, which is under the Housing Division. So we would work closely with Peter as well. So it's not just determined on one particular individual. So GY is involved, Virginia Job Center is involved, as well as Community Development.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question from Ms. Velasco? Okay, I have a question. On page 4 of the report, the one which you read, family must be living independently and not share a dwelling. Most of the people, when they share dwelling, is out of necessity. They're in such a dire situation. So these are the people, they need the help. If we say those who are living together, probably out of necessity, and then we say you can't get involved with this project?
Sure. This is Mayor Agajanian. This is our criteria that we used when we initially had the program back in 2011. So it is a rental subsidy program along with employment. So the family, their names, the primary head of household has to be on the lease or the rental agreement has to be in their name. So that's the primary reason that we say it's not sharing a dwelling, because we need to determine of the household who is responsible for the rent for that household. We are providing that subsidy directly to the landlord, so we want to make sure that that's the case. But this again, we're taking the same eligibility criteria we had back in 2011. So this is what the requirements we had then. But I don't know. I know also Peter Zovek's on the line if there's anything else specifically to that requirement that I'm missing. But that's probably one of the main reasons, is because we're subsidizing the rent of the main head of household.
So if they can think that they can go and separate from the rest of the family and apply for this money, still they can't do it. I mean, if they have the money, they're gonna go and independently they will rent a place or go somewhere. So that's not possible.
Mayor Agajanian, this program is primarily for working families that are working and that are in a rental in the city of Glendale. So that was one of the eligibility criteria. So we understand that it doesn't fit all families, and all families in Glendale might not meet this criteria, but that's the main goal. It's just the working families, at least 32 hours, and helping them achieve their self-sufficiency.
Okay. Is there any other question? So I hear none. Anybody wants to move the item?
I'll move the item.
Ms. Devine, thank
Councilmember
you.
Devine?
I'll
Yeah.
second it.
Okay, so roll call, please.
Councilmember Brotman,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Kasakian,
Yes.
Najarian,
Yes.
Mayor Agajanian.
Yes.
And Mayor, I don't believe there's a necessity for a housing motion.
That's correct.
So we don't need
Thank
that?
you.
No? Right. Okay. Now, before we go to the next item, I want to say that Mr. Garcia is saying that for closed session, we have 4 items to discuss. And right now it's 4:15. I would like to see if Mr. Kasakian or anybody, we can postpone the other item, the city attorney consideration of proposed ordinance establishing mayor selection, if we can postpone it to next week or week after. Is that okay with my colleague?
I'm fine.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Sure.
Fine.
Do we need to do it by motion, or can we
No.
just administratively, or can the chair just move it?
Yeah, I think with consensus of council, we're okay moving it to, in the housing authority, we're okay moving it
Thank
to,
you.
and it would be March 2nd would be the first meeting that would come back to.
Okay.
Okay, if it's okay.
I
do we-
should note, if I could, we have a pretty packed agenda on March 2nd, so that might be a problem.
We'll look at the agendas, and we would intend to bring it back in the afternoon, but if that is full again, we'll pick a appropriate agenda to put that on.
All right. So with that, so I don't need to do anything for that item now. No.
No, sir.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn for council.
Second.
Okay.
Move to adjourn for housing.
With that said, the
Is
meeting
there a
is.
second?
Okay,
Second.
Thank you.
all right. So with
Housing
that,
is adjourned.
the meeting is adjourned at 4, I don't know, it's 18? I guess 4:18 PM. Thank you. See you guys at closed session.
Read the
Okay.
items into the record,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Mayor.
Robert, for coming back.